the groundwork is laid. Premiums are going to start going up. There's already product delays on the wholesale channels. One thing is cheaper now than they've been for quite a long time, and that is.
Today we are being joined by the coin shop owner who is my most requested guest in the comments all the time. We are being joined by Josh from My Coin and Bullion. Now, Josh, we are going to be talking about the current market, wholesale prices, premiums going up, and more. And if you want to hear about all of that, I definitely recommend you watch the entire video. Most of you always do with Josh anyway. In fact, videos with Josh are my highest retention rate videos on the entire channel, but I definitely recommend you watch this entire one and hear what he had to say, because there's definitely some interesting stuff that he shared with us in today's video. So let's not wait any longer. Let's get Josh on the channel and find out what he has for us today. Make sure you don't miss out on your chance to win a full monster box of Silver Eagles by going to our sponsor sdbullion.com/silverseeker and get your entry today. Josh, how's it been, my friend?
Been staying very busy. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to get right into it. The market, last time we talked, was on its way down. This week specifically, it seems like it's kind of moving back up. As of this morning, we're just over the $23 an ounce mark. And I'd love to know what your customers have been saying to you about this. Have you been selling a lot more or buying a lot more with the prices going back up? And then we'll also touch on, if you don't mind, wholesale prices as well. But let's start with your customers. What have they been saying? Have you heard anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, I always get a lot of feedback from customers, learn their sentiment, get their feeling on, how they feel about what's going on in the markets. Quite honestly, a lot of my regulars are excited that it's on its way back up. It's kind of, I find it comical almost, because as I've often said, in a down market, I tend to sell less in my shop. The casual buyer chooses not to buy when the price is low. I think it kind of gets out of their head. They get frustrated that the value of their stack is going down, 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 when in fact that's the time they should be buying. So quite honestly, now that we have this uptick, and just for some numbers, I looked at this before you called. We kind of hit an October low for silver, October 3rd through the 6th, that hovered right around $21 per ounce for 4 days. There was 4 days you could have picked up silver, at that cheaper spot price. Now we're at 23 and change. We're up about 11% from that October low. And now business is picking up. So those people truly are paying like 11% more for their silver, actually even more than that, because some premiums have went up as well. So customers are excited that it's going up, and that's triggered more buying. And it's, like I said, it's kind of counterintuitive in a sense, but people get excited knowing that the value of what they're holding has went up, and it prompts them to buy more.
Good. I was going to ask that, because what would cause people to want to wait till it starts going back up? Could it be, they're worried that it's going to continue going down and they're trying to catch the bottom? I've talked about don't try and catch the bottom of anything, because it's never going to happen, right? So
good luck, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, you think that's what it is? They're worried that it's going to keep going down, or are they just waiting for that bottom? Or
I definitely think that's part of it. On the other hand, too, I just think, as I mentioned, people kind of get frustrated when price goes down. But I know there's others as well, and I've seen comments in your type videos, my type of videos that we put out, that there's people that are excited when the price goes down, because now you can load up at a cheaper rate. And in my mind, that's truly how you should approach it. You should look at a down market as an opportunity, not as a negative.
Oh, I agree 100%. I actually did a video, I think last week. I showed a kilo that I had picked up during, one spot was around 21. For my personal stack, and I was really excited to get that. I like those Johnson Matthey kilo bars. I don't know if you see my videos, but I have a number of them. I just love those things. If I could keep buying those, I'd be happy as a I just love them. But
They're
yeah,
beautiful bars.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, it's interesting you say that that people they get frustrated when it's going down, then they get excited when it's going up, so they want to buy. So it's almost like the spot price is going down and they're upset it's going down, and they don't want to buy because they're upset about it. And then, like you just said, then the market's going back up and they're like, oh, sweet, it's going back up. Let's ride the wave and then grab it on the way up. But it just would have been better if they'd bought it when it was cheaper.
True. And, hindsight's 20/20. And I will say, too, there was a fair amount of people buying when silver was down at 21. I would almost call it the smart money, the people that are truly looking at it as an investment, or at least a long-term type hold, which everybody should, quite honestly. They're waiting for the down market. And I mentioned in a different call that you and I did, I have several customers that dollar cost average. Well, those are the ones that are paying attention when the market is down, so they can lower the cost of their stack by buying when current cost is less than their average cost. And there were people doing that, but it's truly the casual stacker, the person that might come into my shop once or twice a week or maybe once every couple of weeks and spend X amount. When the price was low, they weren't buying. And I really think that's why there was just some frustration and, lack of interest because the price was low. But those that truly are paying attention, I did still have a fair amount of big sales at that lower rate as well. So it was interesting. And as far as people selling back, honestly, there's really no rhyme or reason. There's days where, silver's low that I might buy more across the counter than I sell across the counter. It just really depends on the public's need at that moment, I guess, and people sell for different reasons, but I do still buy quite a bit every day, quite honestly, in the shop across the counter, whether it be just straight bullion, estates, gold and silver, jewelry, even people bringing in currency and tokens and, all sorts of things related to the hobby. But I get a pretty big mix of things coming in across the counter, and it's really tough to predict when I'm going to be buying a lot because there truly is no rhyme or reason. It just happens at all different times. And when you least expect it, somebody shows up wanting to sell, $50,000 worth of stuff. So it is kind of tricky to plan cash flow around all that type of stuff. But it always does help too that I am constantly selling across the counter too. So it sometimes it pretty well evens out over the course of a month as far as what I buy versus what I sell, whether it be buying across the counter or through a wholesaler.
Gotcha. So you had mentioned those $50,000 sellers. Those are probably not the people I'm thinking of right now. But when we think about sellers and it being unpredictable, do you think a lot of that, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you think a lot of it just has to do with people just needing money right now with everything being so expensive?
Yeah, 100%. And most people, well, maybe not most, but maybe close to half, tell me why they're selling. I don't pry typically, but lately it's been, I need work done on my truck, or, I'm behind on rent, or it's not, well, I'm going to go on a Jamaican vacation. People aren't saying that lately. It's truly to cover living expenses right now. And those people are, regrettably upset that they have to sell their stack. But, you got to do what you got to do to pay the fiat bills, I guess.
Yeah. On my channel, and I know you know this, and I know most of the people watching, but I'll say anyway. On my channel, I talk about making sure you have that savings set aside. But, when I hear people saying, oh, my truck broke down, I need to sell my silver to repair my truck or whatever it is, I do wonder, why don't they have, some cash set aside for things like that? Do those people that sell, did they have that and they just went over the amount, or does anyone ever get that deep into it with you?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I don't get specific or so specific that I know their dollar amounts and, I only had X cash and have to sell X silver. But I do get people in here oftentimes that'll bring, more than they're intending to sell, not knowing what they're going to get for it. And they'll look at me and say, I need $2,000. What can I sell you? So at that point, I say, well, what do you want to sell? Let's go through the things you have the least attachment to. We'll just kind of work up from there, and I'll keep a running total once they hit that mark. Okay, that's good. They keep the rest of their silver or gold. They get their cash. They walk out there. They're satisfied, but it's real difficult to know, I don't ask them, well, how much cash do you have on hand already? And, that's not the question I'm going to pry and find out, but there are a lot of people that do it in that way where they'll bring in, I don't know if it's all of their stuff, but a lot of their metal, and they only sell part of it because they just need a certain amount today of cash. And oftentimes it's the better stuff that they keep, and I'm kind of like spinning my wheels. I'm like, I'm not trying to pressure them to sell it, but I always ask them, well, what do you want to get rid of first? And it's always the stuff I have the least interest in, most easily replaceable stuff. It might be silver eagles or silver rounds or a generic bar, but they might have, cool vintage silver, or they might have low mintage silver pieces or things like that. And those are the things they tend to hang on to, which is perfectly fine. But those are the things I would rather buy because I can't buy those on a wholesale network, but that's just how it works.
So, I don't want to sound like I'm insulting those customers that do that, but that's kind of dangerous, don't you think? You need to have at least a little bit of knowledge of what you have that's worth, because if you bring in a whole bunch of stuff to a coin shop and you say, look, I need $2,000, what can I sell you? If I know you wouldn't do this, but if it were like a dishonest dealer, I could easily see them, lowering the value of stuff to get more for the $2,000 that they give them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why you've stressed so much, and so have I, that you really need to get multiple opinion if you're selling, because not everybody is going to, be a stand-up dealer and give you fair offers. So it pays to do your own research for sure. You got to protect yourself.
Yeah, what I would think I would do if it were me in that situation is, if I did that, if I said, hey, here's my stuff, I need 2,000, what do I need to give you? I would see what they want to take from me for $2,000. Then I would take that pile to another shop and just see what they offer me for it without saying, hey, I need to get $2,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an easy way to do it.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit more into the market. Again, I had said that I'm going to ask you about wholesale prices. I would love to know what's going on the wholesale side of the market, as would a lot of the viewers. Have the prices went up? Have they went down? What's been going on there?
Well, if the viewers and everyone can remember back to what happened in March, a big silver squeeze, I guess, as bank failures began. The market went crazy, both in terms of spot price and premiums and product delays. Things are setting, I'm talking earlier this year in March, things are setting up that way right now. We did have, as I touched on earlier, a 4-day window, October 3rd through 6th, where both silver and gold were at 30-day lows. They hit 6-month lows in that time frame. Now gold is up 6.5% in terms of spot price. Silver's up 11.4% since those October lows, which coincidentally were 6-month lows. But the groundwork is laid. We're going to have the same thing, I believe, happen that we had happen in March. Premiums are going to start going up, and actually some things already have. There's already product delays on the wholesale channels. Wholesalers can't keep up. Even though I said selling to my regulars slowed down during that low point in October, I did sell a lot of large orders to my buyers that have large amounts of cash. I was selling monster boxes and things like that when the price was $21 an ounce. But right now, after just speaking with my wholesaler, Dave from Coinhuskers, silver rounds currently, this is my cost, are 70 cents to $1. It really just depends on what I want. There's a few designs that are live right now. There's others that are already a 2 to 3 week delay. I anticipate that could get even longer. If you remember back in March, I think my last box of silver that I ordered in March, I received in almost the end of May. It was just about 8 weeks. So we could get to that point again where there's big, massive delays, and we're already seeing it. 10-ounce silver bars, my cost right now are 60 cents to 90 cents over spot. There are some live right now, but any large quantity could end up being a delay. 5-ounce bars are just a hair more. They're about a dime more than 10-ounce bars. Silver Eagles are around $4 over spot wholesale. Canadian Maple Leafs are about $2.60. The cheapest, or one of the cheapest right now, sovereigns right now, are the 2024 Britannia. You can buy those, or I can buy those, I should say, at 2.25 over spot. So historically speaking, at least in the last couple of years, premiums are quite a bit lower, but they're on the way up, and they've already started to go up. Silver rounds I was buying as low as 60 cents over. Dave is great to me and has kind of held his price. He did have to tick it up a little bit, so I'm paying 70 cents today. But there's certain things, if I want live, I might have to pay a little more. If I'm willing to wait, I can get it at a lesser rate. That's kind of why there's that range of 70 cents to $1 on silver rounds. So this is kind of the beginning, I believe, of a big, well, maybe not as big, but an uptick in landed cost for everybody. So premiums are going up, and it's already started. And there's already the delays happening, which is kind of frustrating from everyone's perspective, because nobody wants to have to wait for their silver. The wholesalers sure don't want to have to wait. The retailers don't want to wait, and the customers sure don't want to wait either. But we're going to get into situations where demand outpaces supply by such a level that there's going to be wait. So I would just caution people, if you're buying from local coin shops, maybe even online retailers are going to see that same thing happen.
So what is bringing this on? Do you know? And is it because the spot price plus the premiums were down that caused a surge in demand, or is there something else going on there?
Well, I think that's a big part of it. That's usually a catalyst for when you see delays, when you get low spot coupled with a low premium. And I've always said this, they don't coexist for very long together. And if demand gets so high during those down markets, manufacturers get behind. So they can't supply the wholesalers who supply the retailers who supply the customers. And that's what happened. We had that 4-day window where we had 6-month lows for gold and silver. There was a large rush for wholesalers and dealers like myself to stock up on the cheap, whether or not we were even selling at retail at that point. I bought a lot of additional ounces of silver when the price was low, just to have an inventory, because I knew it was a low price. Could it have went lower? Of course. Fortunately for me, it didn't. I did time the bottom pretty well with that, but I think a lot of dealers and wholesalers increased their stockpile when the premiums were low.
Yeah, I was going to say, Keith from the Coin Crew actually said on the interview I had with him, I believe last week, that during the down market, he had increased his inventory level as well. I think he said a couple thousand ounces. He keeps a certain level.
I saw that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting to think about, and it makes sense. I mean, if demand goes up because of spot price and premium is finally at a level people feel comfortable buying, I could definitely see that rush causing a delay. Which, of course, when we get the delay, is what's going to cause the premiums to go back up. So it's almost like a cycle. Because if they go back up, people stop buying as quickly. It'll go back down. Who knows, right? But
yeah, it is like cyclical, I guess you could say. I will touch on this real quick. One thing is cheaper now, or actually a few things are cheaper now than they've been for quite a long time, and that is fractional American gold.
Okay.
For whatever reason, and I don't have a logical explanation on why premiums are lower on fractional American gold, but they are. If the viewers and you yourself can remember back, we're not too far removed from having a 1/10 ounce American gold eagle. The retail premium be like 35% earlier this year, I believe.
It was, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, right now the wholesale cost for me to pick up 1/10 ounce American gold eagles is 10%. So I might mark it up, 2.5% on the retail side. Quarter ounce American gold eagles are 8% my cost. Half ounce American gold eagles are 6% over my cost, and 1 ounce or 3.5%. The 1 ounce everything basically, whether it be bars or any type of sovereign gold, premiums have remained pretty steady. But it's the fractional U.S. gold, the premiums have gotten quite a bit lower. Fractional gold has become more affordable again, but gold is up $160 in the last 2 weeks. So when you couple it with that increase, you may have been better off buying it 2 weeks ago when spot price was much lower.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you're able to get it for 10% and you're marking it up another 2.5, 3%, that's pre-COVID numbers for premiums on 10th ounce eagles.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely.
That's something we'll have to keep in mind as well as we watch the market over the next couple of weeks. So, Josh, that's basically all I had for you today, but I did want to open the floor up. Was there anything else you wanted to share with the viewers while I have you that maybe I forgot to touch on or ask about?
No, I don't think so. I think we kind of covered everything we set out to do. Just thank you for having me on the channel. I always appreciate it.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. You're literally one of my most requested Coin Shop interviews. But for those that don't watch or haven't heard from Josh before, he does have his own YouTube channel, Minot Coin and Bullion. I'll put a link in the description, and you guys should definitely go over there and give him a subscription if you have a chance. He deserves it. He has great content. So thanks again, Josh. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks again.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. So it was a pleasure to have Josh on the channel once again, no doubt. And I want to thank you guys for watching this far into the video. I really do appreciate it. Make sure if you haven't done so yet, you subscribe so you don't miss out on future interviews with Josh. And additionally, if you haven't seen this video yet, that's the next thing you should do. So go watch that. And otherwise, we will see you in the very next video, and have a great rest of your day.